Happy Sunday, everybody, and happy spring, happy spring equinox. We are finally at that part of the year where we have as much daylight as we do dark, and that makes me very happy. Which means, okay, so gotta tell you, I have got a little bit of cream in my coffee and some sugar-free banana syrup this morning. And it is absolutely delicious. Now, we are going to make some tortillas this morning, and they are going to be marvelous, I hope. Now, this is a new recipe that I've developed. Just let me get here. And I've made it a couple of times, and I can tell you that the most important part of this recipe, and I promise you, this is true, the most important part of this recipe is having your prep done. You have to have everything set up and ready to go, and you really, really have to mix your dry ingredients first. I am not even kidding you. So, the ingredients are easy. The recipe is fast. Good morning, Mom. The ingredients are not expensive, so that's a good thing. But you really need to follow the steps. So I'm going to give you the ingredients. So grab a pen and grab a piece of paper or your keyboard, whichever, and write this down. 49 grams of coconut flour. 41 grams of ground oat fiber. So oat fiber flour, not oat flour. This is a really important distinction. We are not going anywhere near oat flour because that is just going to jack our blood sugar up. It's going to knock us out of ketosis, so we don't want to go there. But the oat fiber is fine. Okay, then we want half a teaspoon of salt. Those are the dry ingredients. And I know what I'm going to say next is going to sound like a dry ingredient, but it isn't, kind of. 20 grams of ground psyllium husk. Now, I have not done this with whole psyllium husk. I've got some coming, but I don't have it yet. So, 20 grams of ground psyllium husk and 300 milliliters of water. Okay, you got that written down? I hope so. Good morning, Tammy. Okay, so just a heads up, you are going to want to join me next Sunday when I am going to be making a chocolate eclair cake. So, I'm going to give that a test run today since Dell is home and I've got my sampling crew here. Okay, so these tortillas are fast, they're easy, they really do need to be eaten hot. They're not nearly as good cold. And I will show you right now why we need to make sure that we do things in order. Okay, so first thing we are going to do is we're going to take our 49 grams of coconut flour and our 41 grams of oat fiber flour. It's kind of a little bit sticky in the bowl. Okay. And we're going to put those in the bowl with half a teaspoon of salt. The salt is optional. You can put it in or not. Now, if you want there to be one more ingredient, you can add whatever spices you like. So, you know, dress it up that way. Good morning, Dell. Look at that. Instead of being out here being my production assistant, he's online watching. You gotta like that. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for lunch today, this is a delicious way to get a whole bunch of fiber in your diet because we've got the psyllium husk fiber, ground psyllium husk, which is straight fiber, and the ground oat fiber, which is also fiber. Okay, now we've got this mixed up: coconut flour, ground psyllium husk, and salt. And we're just going to make a little well in the middle of that as much as we can. Do this in a fair-sized bowl because otherwise you're going to have flour popping out the sides. Yes, that is the voice of experience. Okay, now, next thing on my list of things to do is hand my coffee off for a little bit of refreshing with a little bit more banana, but I'm not going to have any more cream this morning. Okay, now, we are going to add 300 milliliters of water to a bowl. Do this first. I'm not even kidding you. You have to put the water in the bowl first, because what we are going to add next, so 300 milliliters of water. What we're going to do next is we are going to add the psyllium husk. So get your hand mixer out. Now I've got one of these little handy dandy milk frother thingies, and so this works really well. And look at that, just like magic, I have another cup of banana flavored coffee. And I know banana in coffee sounds like a crazy idea, but trust me, it's not. Okay, now sprinkle a little bit of the psyllium husk powder in here. Can you see what I'm doing here? And let's get this turned on. Now you have to work fast with this. This psyllium husk, you're going to see what happens. Do not go over 20 grams. If you do 18 or 19, that's fine. Do not do 21 or 22, because this is powerful stuff, I promise. Now if you watch, this is already chunking up, and it is as thick as we want it. If we leave this for another minute, I'm going to hand that off to get rinsed off. If we leave this sit here for another minute, this water with that little bit of psyllium husk in it is going to go from being the gloop that it is now to an absolute blob, I guess. Okay, now right into our dry ingredients, and this is why it is so important to have your dry ingredients ready first. Mise en place. That is your prep. Okay. Now, that is the last we're going to need of that. Put this guy away now that it's all washed off, just like magic. I love that. Okay, now get a little bit of the goop off my hands. Now it's important to put the psyllium husk goo on top of your flour mixture, and the reason for that is we want to work the flour in. If we were to dump the flour on top of the psyllium husk, we'd have lumps. Okay, so we are just going to start mixing this in, and the faster you work, the easier it will be, because the psyllium husk and water isn't going to set up as much. And just keep working the flour in from the bottom and the top. Now once we get this all worked in, it's a little easier when you have a big enough bowl too. Once we get this all worked in, we are going to put it in the fridge for half an hour. And you can use these for desserts, like you can do them really thin, like a crepe if you like. You can flavor them with whatever spices you like. You can dress it up however you want. And the only real work involved here is working this flour into the psyllium husk. And once you've got that done, it is easy peasy. Now you can see this is coming together really nicely. And you'll know once the flour is gone off the bottom of the bowl, you'll see that it turns into a beautiful dough. Now you can put this in a sandwich bag, or you can, look at that. Clean dishes are just appearing like magic. Oh my goodness. Put that back here. Okay, now you can see that this has come together to be a beautiful dough. And if I took the glove off and felt this, it feels, I don't know, a little bit slimy maybe, but that's all right, because it is going to make a wonderful tortilla. And this is just so easy, and it goes together so quick, and you don't need a whole bunch of ingredients. And if you are having any problems being regular, okay, now I am going to need that because I need to get the other half of the dough off my glove. And this is why I wear a glove rather than getting all of this lovely dough under my fingernails. Okay, There we go. Now you can use a sandwich bag or a freezer bag, but I am just going to use a piece of saran wrap. Just like this. And I'm not going to leave it in the bowl for a couple reasons. First of all, I don't want this to stick to the bowl any worse than it is now. But secondly, I'm putting this dough together a little bit more, squeezing it together a little bit more as I'm wrapping it in the saran wrap. But make sure it's for half an hour. And why have I frozen? Okay, well, I do not know what's going on here, but I am totally frozen. Okay, is it? It's got to be Okay, I am going to end this stream and come back for part 2 of our